great segment. Good morning. This is Kathy Akers.
Good morning.
With Fathom Realty.
Yes. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm great. Glad to see your smiling face here this morning. Kathy's going to talk about, you always talk about great topics that hit, everybody has, the things you talk about affect everybody, whether it's renters or homeowners or whatever. So today you're going to talk about loans and things like that.
That's right. It is spring fever out there.
Yes.
Everything's starting to green out.
And the loan is the necessary evil.
That's
we
right.
have to cut grass.
That's right. But there's more things you can do besides just cutting the grass. But that's part of it, because whether you're selling or you're looking at a house to buy, or even as a renter, you want your lawn to look nice. You want You want people as they drive by think, "Oh wow, look at that yard." So
I can only imagine that adds to, when somebody's riding by looking at a house, a well manicured lawn just adds to the whole excitement of the property.
It does. And when I talk to potential sellers, I always tell them your first showing is going to be online.
Right.
Because they're going to look at the pictures. If they like what they see online, they're going to drive by before they even call an agent to look at it.
Right.
And most often, 80% of the time they're going to drive by. And if you have that lawn, I'm not saying it has to be immaculate, it has to be pristine, but there's several things you can do that'll help pull it together. And even if you're, like us, we're not looking at selling, but we're staying. These are some things that'll help us enjoy our outdoors better.
That's right, exactly. It gives you a good frame of mind, I think, Kathy.
Well, I appreciate that. And let's talk about the lawn. In the spring, you're always going to want to feed it well. Know what type of lawn you have, so you know what kind of fertilizer and feed that it's going to need. It's been, for some lawns, like the centipede, Bermuda, zoysia, those kinds of things, they've been lying dormant. So now's the time for them waking up and starting to green out. So you want to give them that added boost to help them to really come in nice and thick. So know what kind of lawn you have. Find out what kind of feeding schedule it needs, just like with anything else. The next thing is watering.
Yes.
They recommend that you water at least an inch of water uniformly over your lawn, but do it in the mornings. Doing it at night, that wet grass lays there, and that breeds some issues. So with that, you want to do it in the morning. That way it has time to dry off and really soak into your yard.
Okay.
All right. So you haven't had to cut grass. Now the grass is growing. Kind of ease into that mowing pattern. So start out higher and then lower it down, because you don't want to put it, I always think of, if you cut it too much, you're going to cause damage. So think about that. Give it the time to regrow and get some firm roots in there, and then ease it down to lower where you want it to maintain. Make sure you start fighting those weeds. I've heard my husband, my husband fussing about the lawn and garden stores didn't have the weed and feed out that he wanted in a timely manner. So think about that. If some of those fertilizers and weed and feeds all come combined, so it kind of helps. You don't have to do it twice.
And it's good with weeds to, like you said, go ahead and get that under control. Don't let them get too bad before you start. So start, and that way it won't be so mind-boggling.
Right. You've driven by neighborhoods, and one lawn is nice and green, the next yard has dandelions throughout.
Right.
It's just those little preventive measures that you take that'll help keep it that nice green thick lawn. Thin spots, over the winter, sometimes, depending on what happened, you may have some bare spots. So this is a good time to overseed. If it's some of, like zoysia or some of those summer grasses, you may have to either plug it or sod it. But think about what you need to do to get your lawn back uniform and,
Sure.
you know, just to give it that nice, thick, lush look. Now's a good time to plant trees.
It is.
You know, we had, of course, through storm damage and things, we lost a couple of trees
Right.
last fall. So now's the time to start thinking, are you going to replace those trees? Or,
Right.
you know, or is there a nice spot that you would like to add some shade to? Now, you're not going to get it immediately unless you go out and buy a huge tree, but
Right.
not all of us are going to do that. So look at somewhere, make sure you're looking at your, how much that spread is going to be as far as the foliage, so that it's not hitting up against a house or that kind of thing, and you're not getting it to where it's going to damage, you know, areas that you don't need shade in. So,
Right.
but now's a good time to get out there and put in those trees that, if you've been thinking about doing it. Ornamental trees are a great alternative to, you know, the maples, oaks, and that kind of thing. They also give you some color. So
Yes, absolutely.
Japanese maples,
They're beautiful.
different types of dogwoods. We have a Kusa dogwood that's blooming right now.
Really?
All the other dogwoods have already bloomed
I
out.
love dogwoods.
Our Kusa dogwood is blooming right now. So it's a little bit later than others. So we kind of have things staggered so that they're blooming at different times.
And that is good.
Different types of shrubbery. Everybody's azaleas have already bloomed out.
Right.
I have some Asian azaleas, and I can't remember the correct name for them, but they are now starting to bloom as well.
Oh, really?
So-
I need to do a better job of that because my azaleas have died, and I do need to space out my
Right.
plantings and figure out what will bloom,
And,
you know.
one of our local nurseries, I'm sure, can help you. You know, talk to them about what you have. If you're not the green thumb type like
Yeah.
me, talk to them, and they can give you ideas of different types of shrubbery and that kind of thing.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be things that bloom, but things that actually have color to them.
Absolutely.
You know,
yes.
so that's
Yes.
another thing. And don't be afraid of color. You know, reds and yellows, they really
yes.
pop, you know, in a summer yard. So if you're not thinking of planting anything, how about adding flowers to either planters, you know, some strategically
Yes.
set pots,
I love doing that.
you know, in among some other shrubs and things like that, just adds that nice little pop of color in between everything else that's green.
That's right. Get you some pots of Gerber daisies and marigolds and all kinds of good stuff.
Oh, all kinds of
Yes.
things at this time of the year, you know, geraniums, and you know, we could go on and on about all the different ones. But the other thing about putting some pots in with the shrubs and that kind of thing, that kind of helps soften those edges.
Yes.
You know, so it's not that hard strip, you know, everybody has, you know, in front of their house.
Right.
It kind of helps give it that nice, I hate to use the word fluffy look,
Right.
but it helps.
But it does,
It
yeah.
does. It softens that edge, so it's not that just regimented row. Not that there's anything wrong with a nice hedgerow. But these are some things to just think about. Mulching is a great time right
Yes.
now. Explore some different things. You know, we've heard all those stories about pine straw and pine bark and that kind of thing being a fire hazard, which
Right.
it can be. So explore some other types of mulch and bark materials. They even have some that are colored. So
Oh, really?
Yes. So you know, they have that rubberized bark out. And,
Right,
And so
yes.
you can get it in different colors, that kind of thing. I'm probably going to still lean towards the more natural colors.
Yeah, I've always used that, but I might
But-
want to branch out.
That,
Yeah.
you know, one of the things that I saw recently, and I thought, you know, this is, you know, one of those spots that you have a hard time growing things, and you just don't want it to look like a mulched bed because nothing's really growing there.
Right.
Is someone had taken stones, and we're not talking about big ones, we're talking about the little
Right.
round rocks kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they took and arranged them so that they were in a flower-shaped pattern. So they
Oh.
started with a little center rock and then put the larger around to make petals, and they did them strategically throughout this bed.
Right.
So it gave it a nice architectural feel, but it gave you something to look at it without it
Right.
just being this landscape of mulch or bark
Right.
kind
Some
of thing.
kind of ways to be creative like that.
That's right. So, think about, some of those things. Kids love putting their hands in concrete. Put in some stepping stones. You can add different, like the little colored pebbles and things like that
Yes.
into them. So maybe some nice stepping stones
Absolutely.
through some of your natural beds. Outdoor seating. We all
Yes.
like setting
Yes.
outside right now.
Absolutely.
Of course, now's the time to be cleaning them off, getting the pollen residue and that kind of thing. Here's a great way to add a pop of color to your furniture outside. There's some really nice pillows and that kind of
Yes,
thing.
the cushions and pillows are beautiful now.
They are,
Wow.
and they're waterproof, so that kind of helps.
Yes.
But it gives you another way of adding color,
Exactly.
without going to a lot of expense.
Absolutely.
So, and maybe or rearranging your outdoor seating.
Mm-hmm.
We always have them on our deck or our front porch or whatever. But maybe out in a corner of your yard, that gets a little more shade in the evening,
Yeah.
or different things like that. We are seeing some fire pits, that kind of
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
So think about your outdoor seating. What's going to fit you and your family the best, and go from there. Have some fun with it. Lighting.
Yes.
That's, we always think, besides being the security factor,
Mm-hmm.
it can help really brighten your home in the evenings.
It can.
We're not just talking about the little low-level lighting that you do around your driveway or
Right.
sidewalks or things. How about some uplighting? That really beautiful crepe myrtle over on the side of the house.
Right.
A nice uplight will really highlight that in the evenings.
Good idea.
Some of the beautiful magnolias or oak trees, those kinds of things, they need some brightening,
Absolutely.
So think about that, as well as, if you have some architectural features on your home, corner spots that around the front porch.
Right.
Maybe some lighting hitting on those. So, think about your lighting scape as well, because there's ways of doing things that, are not, they're fairly inexpensive.
Right.
You don't need to hardwire them. That now these solar ones are great. So think about something like that, just to add a couple of places to maybe take care of some of those little dark spots that you've been worried about. And it gives it that nice, appealing, welcome look in the evenings.
Absolutely. And that's what you want. You want a welcoming look to your home.
Anything that we can
Yeah.
to say, hey,
Yeah.
come on by.
Absolutely.
Now there's some of us that
Wait till I clean up.
Yeah,
Now, wait till we clean up.
That's right. The inside, we talked about that. We're still working on our list, going from room to room. But, it's not, this is the time that everybody socializes
Right,
a lot more.
that's
It's the
right.
spring and summer. So, think about what you're going to be doing this year as far as entertaining. And lastly, how about cleaning our hardscapes?
Oh, yes.
It not just weeding, but getting out, power washing. There's quite a few really good professionals out there if you
Yes.
don't want to do it yourself. But the sidewalks, the driveways.
Yes.
You'd be
absolutely.
amazed what a concrete driveway looks like after it's been
After the power washing. Yes, yes.
And get somebody that really knows what, if you don't want to do it yourself, get somebody who
Right.
knows what they're doing. Because
Absolutely.
sometimes they can do more damage than good.
That's right.
They really have to be careful with vinyl siding and
Oh,
some of the
yes.
masonite and those kinds of things, because they can easily get water up under the siding, which
Right.
will cause more issues.
Right.
So think about that. They also, ask them what kind of chemicals or natural components they're using to wash with. Because if you've gone out and you've put a lot of money into your beddings around the house,
Absolutely.
you don't want to lose anything because of that.
Absolutely.
So, really talk to whoever you hire to help you with that. But, weeding, I had somebody to tell me that, it's always easy. You're out, if you walk to the mailbox, pull 12 weeds. You'd be surprised how much weeding you can
Absolutely.
do by doing that each day as you walk around. Just pick,
just keep it maintained a little at a time.
a little
Then-
at a time.
Then it doesn't get overwhelming.
That's right. And but you may need to schedule one day on one of these nice Saturdays that now we're
Right.
seeing rain for quite a few of them, but we're having some nice days out
That's
there
right.
that to just get out in the yard and put some thought into
Well,
it.
there's a lot of time now after you get off in the afternoons. It doesn't
yeah.
get dark until 8, and that's when I like to do it anyway. It's cooler.
That's right.
And yeah, it's a great time when you get off work. It's a relaxing thing.
Get out, enjoy your yard.
Yeah.
That might have been one of the big selling points that you bought the house for.
That's right.
And make sure that it's the selling point, if you are selling, that that next person's going to want to buy it for.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And, just get out and enjoy your summer.
Yes, absolutely. This has been great information, Kathy, as always. Thank you for this. Thank you for coming every other week and just giving us these tips. And now is the time we need those. So appreciate Fathom Realty and Kathy Akers. Now, how can we get in touch with you at Fathom Realty?
As always, you can call me directly at 252-266-4038.
266-4038. All right. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you, Sandra.
See you next time.